You are listening to the Decipher podcast, hosted by the Super Bash Brothers. So what up, y'all? Decipher podcast, hosted by the Super Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
Mappy and Richter. We will be taking you down some different avenues today. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see, man. So what was he going to talk about today? I think we're just going to get into us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, let's see. I guess we should just talk about some dance stuff for sure, because that's kind of how we met, right? So we both were hip hop dancers,
For sure.
with some history before that as freestyle dancers.
Yeah.
Is that fair enough to say? So definitely creatives. We were both
For sure.
creatives, doing our own things, and by some weird chance, we ran into each other at a dance company, right? Some of this.
Should we speak about the name of the dance company?
Well,
or the dance companies that we've been part of?
actually,
We
it's
should,
companies.
right?
Yeah, we
Companies.
could break it
Yeah.
down.
Let's break it down. I feel like people need to know like who we are and why we're connected in a sense.
Yeah, man, for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
So let's break it down.
I'm gonna get started, or you get started.
I think you should start this
Okay,
one.
cool. So what's up, y'all? This is Mappy. Like what we said, I feel like, like you said, I'm creative. Besides dance, I do photography, getting into videography, trying to be a filmmaker, because especially with this project that we're going to be working on pretty soon. I teach dance full time, but as far as dancing and the career stuff, like the teams that we were on, one of them was funkonometry, and those were definitely good times.
Some crazy times.
And Phoenix Dance Company. Kids, if you don't know, you got to research Phoenix Dance Company. I feel like we didn't really establish ourselves as hard as we could have, but that's on a different topic maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
We'll get into that.
We gotta let them wait for something.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of like all over, because there's so much that I've done and you've done that we've connected with, but been in the community for about, 17, 18 years, maybe a little bit more, depending on when I consider
Really
my
being in the
start.
scene.
Yeah. like you mentioned earlier, I think started as a freestyler, tried to be a freestyler, attempted to, with like Jardy and this guy named Sunny, and we were on this crew called like Mystic Disciples.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And the kind of style we were doing, I think, was more on what they would say like new style hip hop.
Okay. New style hip
Or
hop, meaning
new
like
school hip hop or something.
Oh, like the stuff more like the Euro, the late twins.
No, more like at the time it was the style of like mop tops. It was like a fusion. It was like a fusion of like kind of like a popping or the fundamental styles, but you're not really doing as much of the one genre like breaking or popping. It's like a fusion.
I got you. Kind of like what Buddha Stretch was doing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. That's where we were very inspired.
Elite
The style,
Force?
Elite Force,
Yeah.
mop tops.
Shout out.
Yeah. So that's what we're inspired by. Anyway, so that was like when I started.
And that's like a South Bay group, just for
South Bay.
for the Bay heads. All right.
Yeah, and then got into choreography.
So when was that moment? See, to me, I always want to know when people had that moment of like, not only have you probably seen choreography before that, but you didn't know it or whatever. But when did you like say, "Hey, I'm gonna do that"? Like, not be dope or I want to kill it, but just like I'm gonna try to learn how to do somebody else's dance straight up. Like,
Oh, that's a tough question, right? That's crazy. I feel like I've always had like the interest in dance, like especially watching like Michael Jackson, Janet, but maybe seeing it first time live, that really kind of inspired me to do it. I think it was Coach Shock San Francisco at the time. I saw like a live performance.
oh, okay, so you saw a dance group. You're a freestyler, and you saw like Culture
We were
shock
doing
essay.
we were doing choreography.
But like that's like crew ones. Like,
Yeah.
like you had your little double moves. yeah. See, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's weird because that's choreography, but sometimes you just don't see it through that lens or that
Yeah.
early. But to me, it's really fascinating when it's freestyle dancers going to choreo because you come from a world of I can do anything. This is me. To like I need to be you
Yeah.
for these few seconds.
And mimic. And
Yeah.
Be the same.
Yeah. Like be in their space, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because you just do it, but then you don't realize like you're kind of like not losing yourself, but as a freestyler, it's
For sure. I think that's also like we could expand on that more on another podcast.
for
'cause
sure.
There's talks of, choreo versus freestyle, but yeah,
Yeah, we'll get into that one.
we'll
for
get
sure
into
now.
that one for sure. I think that's a very because let's talk about a little bit since we're in the earlier stage of our dancing. Let's talk about your breaking and how you got into it.
So yeah, man, I basically got into this whole thing from just fucking breaking, definitely breaking. I wanted to do it because it looked like it was hard to do, and I wanted to do it forever. But people were like, "Yo, you're too tall. You should play basketball."
Right.
So had my
People
struggles.
immediately stereotyped you.
Yeah, and people just wouldn't give me the shot. Like not like you would be whack, just like you're gonna do this other thing so much better than dance, dude. Like don't do it. So they definitely already gave me a chip on my shoulder. Like
Extra motivation.
I'm gonna show these dudes for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically got a couple homie crews. Trying to remember the names. Centripetal Force.
Holy shit, that's a tongue twister.
Centripetal force, which is the force made when you do a flare. That's called centripetal force.
Right.
So that was really just homies. Shout out East Bay, and then from there, Battle Prodigies. So just
Yeah,
heavy,
cool names.
heavy from like you can tell from the names, just the vibe I was in. Like centripetal force is just about the moves and the dynamics, right? And then Battle Prodigies, it's like. You know what I was doing. Like, we were just battling. Shout out to Pino and Flubber. And, of course, Bill. Crazy-ass Bill. But,
Shout-outs.
yeah. So I came up on these crews. And then, of course, as many heard, I guess, is X-Force. Got down with X-Force. And then, of course, eventually I made my way to Full Force. Shout out Full Force. Still doing it, 1995.
Wow.
So yeah, man.
You said 95 is when you officially like.
No, 95 is when they started. Like that crew came about.
When did you find breaking? What?
I found breaking probably I want to say in 90. Well, I mean I've always found it, but when I actually got to learn, I want to say 97.
97. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, same I think.
So you started your freestyle kind of.
Yeah, around. I was a musician before that.
Okay,
I forgot to mention that earlier in the intro. But that's the original dream was to become a musician, a studio musician to be specific.
Okay.
I kind of was interested in performing, but I didn't think I had that in me at the time. The performance part, I didn't know what a live musician performed at. And maybe this could be another topic in the future, but that's also part of entertainment and performing. You could be a technician on an instrument, but then if you don't have any performance, then it's just like, what am I watching? You know, sometimes it depends on what audience you're performing in front of. But yeah,
that's crazy. So you were doing music because I was gonna ask you. Pretty much 97. That makes us like right before 18ish. We're kind of doing this passion thing, this new passion thing. So I wanted to ask, what took you so long to get to it? Because most of the people, like when we were in the scenes, like they've been doing this for a while, right? And we're like, oh,
yeah,
it's catch up time. Like
yeah. Like I said, I think it was seeing it live because I was in a musician's world. So that's what I was exposed to, but seeing it live and seeing a class and other people dancing at the same time is cool. I think I really got started in choreographies because when I was dating someone and she was a dancer, and her dream was to be a
Like
professional
a background
dancer.
dancer.
Yeah,
Kinda,
you could
or
say
just,
that, or just like a professional dancer,
Okay, okay.
whatever it would that
Whatever
meant to
the gig.
her. Yeah,
Got it.
it could be dancing with an artist, or just dancing on a company maybe.
Okay.
I wasn't exposed to dance companies or crews before, and it was just a dance class,
Okay.
and that was like, whoa, what is this? It was like I didn't I felt like I didn't belong. I walked into a dance class and everybody was so animated. There was like beautiful, like had style, and I came in like not dressed for dance class, but it intrigued me. I think what kept me going is seeing my progress in dance. With music, it was more a slower pace and is very technical.
Yeah.
And I would see progress in little ways. Is more like muscle, like moving my fingers a certain way, or
and timing,
or being able to read music and stuff like that. With dance, it involved a lot more things. It like triggered me in the sense, like in the mind, because I have to think about how my body's moving. That's just the first step, and then you get deeper into dance about like performing and
the feel and the vibe.
the vibe, the presence, But I sucked, obviously, like anyone at first. I like quit for the first 3 months of like dancing.
So meaning you were taking class regularly and then you stopped?
I was.
Okay.
And then.
So you were taking class often, and then you just kind of were like, yo, I'm not holding it down, yo. I need to stop.
Yeah.
I need to stop.
No, I was quitting. I was like, I would take the dance class, and I would do
then you would just
warm-ups and stretches, and then I would sit.
Oh shit.
But there was so many people in the class, and there was other people in the studio. Like parents would sit on the floor in the back,
the edges.
around the edges. So I would just kind of like do, and I would sit back, and I'm there, and I would sit and watch them and be like, wow, I want to do that. I want to do what they're doing because I want to be capable of that. I didn't know the art form then. It was just strictly skill.
The skill of like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or ability. Maybe not the skill, because I didn't know what the skill was, because I jumped in a class where there was professional dancers in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a big high level.
Yeah, big high level, and I didn't know the difference then, but I knew where I was at. So I was like, but I did it for like 3 months and kept.
Then you started doing that, or were you doing that at the beginning?
In the beginning, I kept.
In the beginning, you were
leaving,
going,
yeah.
and then you were trying to fade back.
And then one night, I was like, I'm gonna just do it. I'm just gonna remove the insecurities, remove all of that, and just try. And then after the class was done, the teacher was like, hey, do you want to come to our practice on Saturday?
What? Yeah, so because you stayed.
I stayed.
You actually gave it.
But that was my first effort, my first real effort, because they would start an 8 count, and the 8 count would just be beyond me. And I was like, and I would fall back and just sit and watch my ex-girlfriend, obviously.
Yeah.
And be like, wow, that's really good. I want to do that. But anyway,
it's crazy that you were like there. Like you paid, you warmed up, you stretched, you're there.
For 3 months.
It's crazy that you pull back and go, I want to do that.
Yeah,
you know
but I gave up 3 months. I did that for
crazy.
3 months and sat back, but admired from my seat from the floor.
You basically were really close, but
yeah,
you could have done it. But
I could have done it.
But the moment you did.
Yeah, it was my mind telling me I couldn't do it. And the time when I finally said to myself, just do it, fail if you have to, just go. But that didn't really make sense now. Like the way I'm expressing it is not how I thought back then. But that was my early years. But I'm sure like
that was fresh out of like MD? Mystic Disciples?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe even like around the same time before.
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
just to tie in some of that crew lineage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because you're talking about MD. So from then you were doing MD freestyling and then doing class.
Yeah.
And then the company asked you to come on, right?
And the company's name is City Slam.
I was gonna say, should we keep them nameless or? Okay,
yeah,
okay,
no,
okay.
it's called City Slam, and the teacher, the director was Ronnie Reddick.
Okay,
Shout out to Ronnie Reddick. He's still holding it down. He gives a lot of dancers opportunities out here in the Bay. So
Yeah.
shout out
to
sure.
Double R, man. He's been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Doing it for a while. He means business. So any of y'all that get a chance to meet him or talk to him, you know,
he's really good at that.
Just talk business with him. Like,
word.
Don't fluff him. Don't give him none of that. You know, he means business. He's a good dude.
Yeah, very good. And I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot of how to become a professional dancer from him. Obviously, like how he like has this vision of us Bay Area dancers as professionals. We can do the same gigs, or we're even as talented as the ones in LA, and he's still out here doing his thing. So like, for real, shout outs too. But switching things up, because I just shared, my kind of like early years and failures and stuff. I'm sure in the b-boy world, like especially, I personally think you're defying a lot of odds. Like you sharing the story about people are counting you out already because of, for whatever reason, your height and whatnot. But you really, you didn't not let that stop you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's just, it was weird because I was having my growth spurts during those times. So it's like I wasn't that tall before, but all of a sudden I'm getting tall and people are just like, nah. So it's just like,
for those weird. Listening, can you share the actual number?
Oh yeah.
So people get a gauge.
Oh, so check this out. I'm 6'8", but around freshman year when I really wanted to b-boy, which is, I just grew up to 6 feet out of nowhere. So, oh snap. So then sophomore year, 6'2", junior year, 6'4". So 2 inches a year, right? So it just wasn't looking good. Like each year, they're like,
almost no. Like we're not stopping.
Yeah, and then they're like, you're getting bigger, dude. Like I'm not gonna teach you how to break. So it's like, all right, fuck, like.
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to do it since the '80s, and luckily I ran into a couple cats that were willing to teach me some basics and give me some videos.
Yeah.
And shout out Jacob Lamb, and Ron Chu. Those cats really helped get me on the path. And what was dope about those cats, real quick, is that Ron's small as hell, man. He's maybe 5 foot. He's maybe 5 foot. So he's the little dude. And then you got Jacob, who's like 5'10" and like 260 pounds, like just a bigger dude. So I loved it because it was like, these dudes shouldn't look like they break. And that was the squads. But anyway, so my journey, I guess, getting into choreo, if that's kind of where we're going with this. So fast forward, I got into Full Force Crew, and I did Culture Shock San Diego showcase with them as b-boys. So we did a b-boy routine on stage.
I seen that.
And then, like, just that event, I would say, didn't change my life, but that's a fork. That's when the direction was like, so did the show with them, and I just was like, yo, like, y'all be doing this all the time? Like, performing at these shows, and like, you're breaking and you're getting love. Yeah. And there's like a lot of girls around here. There's a lot of girls around here. And b-boy jams, less and less girls were going. Only if the girl was like with a dude there. So I was like, wow, this is sick, man. So I was like, let me do this. What's up with this culture shock thing, right? I was like, I got to move to San Diego, Yeah. And then they're like, nah, there should be one in the Bay. And I was like, oh, word. So come to find out, mutual friend, shout out Jenna Lee. She was like, oh yeah, I'm
shout out Jenna Lee.
Yeah, right, B-side. She kind of was like, I'm in culture shock. I haven't been going much. Yeah, I'm gonna bust you out, girl. But I'm kind of in it. So we're having auditions. So if you liked what you saw at Culture Shock Showcase, you should audition. Blah blah blah. So at the time, Slim, shout out Slim.
Hope you good, bro.
Yeah, man. Holla at us. So he's living with me, and we basically go and audition. And that was the worst experience of my life. in terms of
Who
dance.
who taught it?
Lily.
Oh no!
Lily was teaching.
Oh no!
Shout out to Lily. Yo.
Shout out Lily. That's another person I need to. Well, we'll get to Lily. When we get...
Yeah, she'll be brought up many times because we just know her.
Yeah.
But shout out to her. So yeah, Lily's teaching. Slim and I are in there. First class we've ever taken.
First choreo class.
First time ever doing choreography. That's not b-boy. Like,
That's
learn
hard.
my move. Like, oh man, I seriously was like, why did they start at 8 at 1 again? We said 8 and then 1. I was
What
like,
happened to 9,
I
10,
asked the
11?
dude next to me, like, hey bro, why did you not go to 9, 10? Like, and he was like hella laughing, like he thought I was joking, and it was the worst experience. They made me still go up in front and try to do it, and I could remember maybe 4 counts.
What did you do when you forgot the rest of the choreography? You
I
dancing?
just watched people and figured out the little parts I kind of didn't know, just to show that if I did remember, I could do it. So it'd be like a gap of me just looking goofy for like 4 counts, and then I'd hit like 2 counts that I remember, and I'd be like goofball face, and then I'd be like, all right, let me hit these other 4 counts I can do. So
Did they make it freestyle?
definitely, because they heard like, oh,
You're B-boys.
and they recognized me from the Full Force show, so a few of them.
So they wanted
So
you.
they were like, you got a break, blah blah blah. So I bust out, and they're like,
So
okay,
you
you're
were
on
like,
the team.
this is what I can do.
Yeah, like this is why I'm here. This other stuff I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So do our thing. Slim and I break. It's cool. Get into choreo from then on. Just rock with Culture Shock Oakland, man.
Mm-hmm.
Culture Shock Oakland. Come to find out, I was I don't remember how this happened, but I ended up meeting you or going to a Allen class. I can't remember which it was. But
Not
that's,
Funks yet.
No, this
Before
is this is
Funks.
before Funks,
Mm-hmm.
because someone mentioned your name before I met you. They're like, "Oh, you should talk to Mappy. He's building something up over there." And I was just like, "Oh, okay."
So y'all went to.
I don't know what I'm supposed to, like, what does this guy look like? Like, how am I supposed to know who this guy is? But then somehow I end up meeting you, and you were like, go to a dance mission.
Okay.
I swear.
I wish we remember where that was. Okay.
I swear you were like, meet me at dance mission.
That sounds about right, dude.
And then I met you up, and you were like asking me about choreo, and I was like, yo, I suck, but I want to get good at it. I kind of remember all that.
Oh.
And I remember you were just kind of telling me, like, yeah, man, like, it's a new group coming out, and I dance with MOM, but, you know, I'm not sure.
Shout out to Alan and MOM.
Yeah, shout out.
We're shouting out everybody right now.
We have to, though. It's respect. You know?
Yeah,
It's part of
for
our life.
sure.
It's part of our life timeline, and they should stick out a little. So
Yes.
definitely big shouts to Big Papa.
Mm.
But so that's, yeah, around that time we were linking up, and you were just like, come train here, you know, just
Right.
learn this, because it's not super technical, but you were like, it's just gonna help. And
Yeah.
that probably was when I made the leaps and bounds. It was like taking
Yeah.
Alan's class on top of the Culture Shock crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
I think on a general note, like, that's dope that, like, you and Slim, like, even broke out of just breaking, because there's a lot of b-boys that don't even want to touch choreography. I'm
That's
sure,
for sure.
I'm sure now people are trying to make that transition, especially if you want to, like, maybe book a gig, or you have to learn choreography, you know.
Exactly.
Even if it's break dancing choreography.
Yeah,
or
you have to
b-boy
know that
choreography.
you're gonna have to retain it.
You got to retain it. You got to learn your counts and all
and
that
then
stuff,
execute.
and execute. So, I mean, that's we both kind of started, you know, in the very beginning stages, had our many failures, and I think it's dope. You know.
Yeah, man. It's pretty crazy.
We might do a part 2 of this.
Yeah, actually, we'll just go up until we about met, and then next time we'll go more into after we met.
Yeah.
And we'll
Because
give you a little
our
more.
history is pretty deep.
It's pretty deep.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep, because if you think about it, our times in dance, or with that passion of dance, started at the same time.
Yeah.
So the enthusiasm, the excitement, the newness of it, were peaking probably around the same time,
For sure.
just in different areas of the Bay or whatever. So, yeah, we'll save that for next time.
Yeah.
We'll save that for
That's a
next time.
whole. I think that's a. If you guys are listening, that's That's a lot of information there and a lot of
Name drops.
name drops. So do your homework.
Google those name drops.
Google those name drops. But I think our conversation, part 2 of us, the Bash Brothers, will be coming, and I think we'll get more deep into our history together and what we've done together.
Yeah.
And like the chemistry and the camaraderie we've kind of like built with each other, and all the things that we've created, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We'll definitely find a place that's more shady.
Because it's hot.
Because we cooking.
We're cooking in here.
So yeah, as you can tell, we were definitely gonna keep rocking. We're gonna be dead.
You guys didn't know it was like maybe 110 degrees up in this car.
All right, but anyway, till next time, Decipher. Decipher Podcast. We're your hosts, the Super Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
That's Mappy. I'm Richter. Till next time, peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Decipher Podcast. Show your support by passing this episode along on your social media. If there are any topics you would like us to discuss on future episodes or feedback on this episode, please leave us a comment or message. Peace, positivity, and prosperity.